So far, we have only taken a look at sketching on our grid planes. Meaning, if I were to sketch a circle, let's say over here, notice that's coming in on my top grid plane. However, we will see that we can also sketch on any flat or planar surface. So, for example, if I were to try and draw a circle on the top face of my object here, notice now that circle is coming in on that top flat surface of my bracket. And I'll just undo. What's also useful here is that we can remember if we did the double tap on a specific grid plane, so if I double tap here on this grid plane, I am now drawing on that top plane, as we can see here. Similarly, however, if I am to double tap on any flat surface, let's say a double tap on maybe this circular face here, I have now just jumped directly onto that top surface. So now if I were to draw a circle somewhere, let's say here, notice that circle should now be coming in on my top face that I just double tapped to select. So now for my specific case here, I would like to draw 3 circles on each of my circular extrusions here to cut away some holes in my bracket. So again, let's double tap on that top surface there, draw maybe just a circle somewhere here, and maybe a circle somewhere about here as well. Next, I would probably want to finish off these 3 circles by throwing in some constraints and dimensions. So I'll just tap to select, let's say, this circle here and this circular edge here, and I'd like those two to be concentric. Same idea with this circle, concentric, and this circle and this circle, concentric. I'd also probably like to give a specific dimension for these circles, so I'll say give a dimension of this circle to be, let's say, maybe a radius of 7, and then could repeat this exact same step for my other 2 circles, or I can tap to select all 3 circles here and set them to be an equal size, and now all 3 of these circular sketches have a radius of 7. So now that I've finished off these circular sketches, my next step would be to try to extrude or cut away these holes. So similar idea, I can tap to select all 3 of these circular sketches, and as we might expect, if we use our extrusion arrows here and push or pull, notice I'm creating an extrusion here and can set whatever dimension I may want. But if I were to go in the other direction here, notice now I'm actually cutting away material. And so I can cut away material to, again, whatever depth I may want, to give it a specific depth if I'd like. Or if I want to cut all the way through my object, I can remember that my dimension was 20 millimeters and just make sure I cut all the way 20 millimeters or further down. And now if I take a look, I should have cut all the way through my model here. So we can see to cut bodies and create holes within Shaper 3D is a very simple process and very similar to our extrude. One other thing I may notice here is notice right above my negative 35 dimension there, I see a little icon above it. So I can tap that icon, and here I have a number of extrusion or Boolean options. And it looks like, in this case, Shaper 3D has correctly guessed that I actually wanted a subtract Boolean, or to subtract this extrusion from my original body. However, let's say instead of subtracting, perhaps I wanted to instead create a new body, so I can just tap to change to new body. Now notice instead of subtracting, I've created a new unique body with this extrusion. Similarly, if I'd like to change it again, I can tap on that same icon. I can use union. That will look similar here. However, it's now created a union or combined this new body with my original body, and we'll learn more about these Booleans later on. Finally, I could again tap to select, and let's choose intersect in this case. Now it has created the intersection between this new body and my original body. Of course, in this case, we did want to use subtract, so I'll tap to select once more and jump back to subtract. And this is what we wanted in this case. As we can see, we have cut the hole through our original object. However, as we can see, jumping between our various Boolean options within Shaper 3D is a very nice and simple process. And again, we'll be going through these Boolean tools in further detail later on. But now, as we can see, we've now gotten pretty close to finishing off our final product design.